look who we got. Look who we got. I decided to come in person. Oh, yeah. And get dinner, too, man. Can't go. The legends. Huh? Probably. Yeah. Yeah, because you know it's happening. You know it's going to happen. You know it's coming. It's okay. Our favorite officer's here, so he's going to. Hey, guys. Yep, everyone's saying hi. Yep, here's the legends. The legend. OG legends. Yeah, this is this is Streets' council. Right. Huh? Yeah, but he's so goofy. He's so goofy. Yeah, he's so goofy. I mean, so Streets, you guys, so goofy. It's just ridiculous. He was so rude and like he doesn't know what's going on. Like, yeah, it's horrible. I want to see you on the council. Well, see, everyone knows you. But see, normally, like, the neighborhood council is just regular people. They're just because they're volunteers, and no one gets paid for this. You know, it's all volunteer. They are. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, because I'm trying to get them in line because they were out of control. Oh good. Oh good. Okay. Dang. Oh, see, they like they want to watch me so they can get the best view of you guys. And get your free pizza. I'm starved. I come hungry. They do have, I think, a couple of at least one or two. Yeah, if you could say you're a stakeholder. Technically, you could for like it's your local one, but actually you could too because you stream here, so technically you work here, right? Technically, if you're here working, then you work here, so technically you're a stakeholder. No, you can work. You have to work, live, or be part of an organization. Join Scientology. Join Scientology. Yeah, yeah. There you go. But if you get on this, you can't say anything about you. You have to recuse yourself for anything Scientology. Oh, okay. Brandon James wants Jess to do a spin for us. Yeah, yeah. I think she's passing. No meows either, right? We're not going to meow. Are we going to meow? A bit. Oh yeah. He feels it. He knows. He knows it's coming because he knows I'm here. He knows, well, especially him. I'm sure that was Hi guys, good to see you too. Well, they're the community ones. Well, they're the ones that have to build a relationship with the community, so they got to go to all the businesses and well, they do go. No, they do the 4118 stuff too. But the senior leads, they're like, yeah, they're not regular patrol. They do supposedly building community relations. Supposedly, public comment. I'm going to basically just remind that, like, I want to start introducing them to the fact that, like, you know how Hollywood is kind of crumbling with all these scandals. You know what I mean? That you can, like, people think that, oh, it's celebrities, it's Tom Cruise, it's you know, John Travolta. How bad can it be? Well, how bad is all these scandals coming out where you think, okay, maybe those guys aren't doing the biggest crimes, but they're still involved, and you know, like it's like a complicity, and this stuff's getting exposed. And what's being done to these kids in Scientology is going to be exposed. I'm going to be here every month to make sure it's exposed. I think for White, I want to definitely deal with the CPAP crap. Because, like was it Saturday in North Hollywood? They had like etching the catalytic converters, and like yeah. But it was at the Scientology parking lot, And they said, and so I stopped the detective. He goes, "Oh well, it's just located here, but we have no affiliation with them." I'm like, "Really? They're on your CPAB. The president of that Scientology is on your CPAB." And so, how did they know you needed the property? You know what I mean? Like, how did they know? And so then, and he says, "Yeah, well," he said, "a lot of people are complaining. We're complaining all day about it." I'm like, "Yeah, because they're listening to us. People are getting aware."
Well, good evening, everyone. It's so good to see you. It's good to see you all again. My name is Joshua Moore. I'm the field representative for Central Hollywood for Assembly Member Rick Chavez Burr, Assembly District 51. There was one bill I wanted to also talk about regarding LGBTQ plus and civil rights and healthcare, which is also a very big priority of the Assembly member, and that is as we see what's happening nationwide over restricting access to healthcare for transgender folks across the country. What this legislation 2442 would do is ensure that licensure applications for providers of gender-affirming care are prioritized so as to reinforce a robust network of providers and timely access for not only patients in California who are seeking gender-affirming care, but folks in nearby states or other parts of the country who are also coming to California to seek this life-saving care.
Yes, I'm glad to hear that the Assemblyman wants to help gay and trans people, especially youth, I'm hoping. Well, I'm here to advocate for the children who are growing up in Scientology and the ones who have survived it. In Scientology, well, they have custody over a lot of kids because if the parents are in Sea Org, they sign over their children to the church. And that organization, religion, whatever you want to call it, does not acknowledge homosexuality or trans. So there's a lot of children there who can't be gay or trans. And by that, I'm being snarky, like they are gay, they are trans, but they're not allowed to express that because it does not exist within Scientology. And and so I'm trying to bring light to this problem, and I'm hoping the Assemblyman will look into this, that there's a lot of kids living in hotels in Hollywood, and I guarantee, I'm guessing some of them are gay and trans, but all of them need help. All of them need to be able to be heard and seen and get health care and get their needs met, make sure their schooling is met, done. And it's not happening. We can't get anyone to hear or to listen. That's why I'm here, and I'm going to keep coming until this community is aware of what's going on. And so can you please, and I also wanted to ask real quick too, I know your legislator, the calendar is closed for this year. If we want to try to get laws passed to help protect these same kids, what do we need to do next year to be able to do that?
Well, you're more than welcome to contact our office at any time regarding any piece of legislation that you're interested in. You're correct. I do know that right now some members focused on the 2024 bill, but while I'm not one of the legislative staffers, as we near the end of this year's legislative session in the fall, discussions will begin around what the priorities will be for next year. However, all year long, we take folks' recommendations and their comments on all matters. So.
Hi. I'm not sure if you're aware, on April 4th, there was an article in the LA Times about how Scientology has been fair gaming the district attorney's office investigators as well as the LAPD investigators in the Danny Masterson case. There seems to be a little bit of conflict because, LAPD is very connected to Scientology on the local level. I'll discuss that later. But we want to know what your stand is in your office on that article. I would like to know, and what are you guys going to do to make sure this never happens again? Our officers, our LAPD officers and our DAs should not have to fear taking any case to court. And there were people, detectives that would not join that case for fear of the fair gaming. People were run off the road, houses broken into, and if you don't think that the protesters are not being fair gamed, they are. And we would like to know what you're going to do, because this issue is not going away. It's getting into the LA Times. Somebody, the city council, the mayor's office, or somebody needs to get behind it and and give some direction and get something to make sure this never happens again to any LAPD officer, public, protester, or DA's personnel. Thank you.
Thanks for flagging. We're all concerned and aware of the, several incidents, and I'm happy to connect with you afterwards to further hear your concerns on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you talked about Inside Safe. You said, thank God that Inside Safe is being renewed in this budget. Are you aware of that? And this, I'm going by the mayor's own data on this, LAZA data, that it costs us per person in Inside Safe $17,000 per month. About $4,000 goes towards hotel rooms. Another $13,000 goes towards the third parties, the nonprofits and whatnot, that administer the program. We're talking about $17,000 a month. I think there's a cheaper way to take care of the homelessness issue, especially when they are using illegal hotels. You guys familiar with Pretty Woman movie, right? The last scene where she's, hanging off the balcony. That's right over there in Las Palmas. It's Las Palmas, just south of Yucca. That right there is a rent-controlled apartment building that's been illegally converted to a hotel, and they are now renting it out to the city for Inside Safe. This program that we're putting like $250 million toward, even though we have a $300 million deficit, and a new budget today, we're going to increase LAPD funding by $150 million, even though they get half of our discretionary budget, and we are going to decrease funding for homelessness and housing by $425 million. Decrease. But yet we're going to keep this most ineffective program, Inside Safe. Remember, $17,000 per month. This is LAZA and the mayor's own data, and this is what you're touting. Are you aware that it costs that amount of money? And listen, we've only permanently housed 440 people in Inside Safe. In the first 16 months, we have 45,000 people in the streets. It's getting nowhere. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, that's streets.
Yeah, your concern has been noted. I can't speak to, the contracts that are owned by the mayor's office.
Yes, he does.
I'm involved with that for Inside Safe.
You
but
should
your
be.
concern is noted.
Where's the oversight?
All right, thank you. Yeah, your concerns are noted. I've written down your concern about Las Palmas Hotel. I can look into it.
ProPublica has a whole article on it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, I don't know if you heard what I said to Council District 13's representative about the April 4th LA Times article on how Scientology is accused of fair gaming both the district attorney's office and LAPD detectives with regards to the Danny Masterson criminal case. I find it disturbing. Everyone should find it disturbing. There's also protests going on right now, and the protesters have been fair gamed as well. And I just want to know your, the stand that you guys are going to take, because it's no longer being hidden. It's coming out into the open, and it's got to be dealt with. Also, the very cozy relationship between LAPD and Scientology, which I plan on discussing later. These things need to be addressed, and I'm asking you if you can go back, and have your person give a public statement on that April 4th LA Times article about how Scientology is fair gamed, which means threatening, making threats, intimidation tactics against our DA and our LAPD detectives, to the point where they had a very hard time finding anyone willing to work on the Danny Masterson criminal case because they feared being fair gamed by Scientology. Like, enough is enough. The public we don't want this anymore. We want some kind of, we've been coming here to meet, I've been coming to meetings, and it's like everyone's like, okay. But again, here it is in the LA Times. Can you please, I'm looking for someone to come up and find a solution that our detectives and our DA don't have to fear a church in order to prosecute one of their members. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for flagging that. I'll be sure to share that with our office
done with our team, and also happy to connect further about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're aware, but, a few years ago, we had a proposition where we passed Measure J, which reallocates money for pre-trial services and puts it towards care first, right? And what happened is, and I gotta tell you, Horvath's office should be aware of this issue. There's a company called Accenture. Accenture used to be called Arthur Andersen back in the day. They were the accountants for Enron. You guys familiar with the Enron scandal? Arthur Andersen was their accountants. A lot of people went to jail over that, and they rebranded themselves as Accenture. And they handled pre-trial services. And somehow the county gave them the contract, Accenture, without any sort of bid, without any sort of Accenture get that contract. And what's going to be done to make sure that they lose that contract should not be in place. What does your office have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with that particular situation or that contract, but I'm happy to look into it more and connect also. I don't know if there's, I'll just share here.
Go to exposeaccenture.com or .org. It's one of them, okay? This is well noted. We've been talking about this for months. And I gotta tell you, I'm disappointed with Unices in Council District 1 in La Defensa that are funding them, that are getting the contract for this stuff.
Hi, Chief, is it Assistant Chief? I want to talk to you about all the fake fire calls that are happening at the protests. There's a lot of fake LAPD and a lot of LAFD calls, absolutely fake. It's costing the city a lot of money, and I want to know what you guys are doing to get to the bottom of it, to see who's doing it, because it's putting, not only is it wasting city resources, it's putting everyone at risk. And even last month at the meeting I was here, one of those fake calls came in for a gas leak right on cue. And this happens, I would say, almost on a daily basis wherever any advocate or protester may be, and it's very serious. And I'm concerned that at some point somebody's going to get hurt. It's not a game. We don't know who it is for sure, whether it's Scientology or whatever, but can you please make sure that you guys investigate this and get to the bottom of it to help save the money, to save money for the city and to protect both your personnel and the public. Thank you.
Yeah, comment on that is, we take all false calls very seriously because it does endanger our personnel as well as the public. We have had a uptick definitely at certain areas in Hollywood here, a lot of them owned by Scientology. We report all false calls to LAPD. It's a law enforcement thing to enforce it. The fire department does not enforce the laws that govern people making false calls to 911. But your fire department is here anytime 911 is called. We show up and rectify the problem as best as we can. It's unfortunate that people are abusing the system and calling it false calls, but LAPD is aware of it. They have a task force that is looking into it, but I don't. That is completely for law enforcement to answer.
I do want to echo the last month's meeting there. A full fire department, trucks and everything did come in here for a gas leak, and it was disruptive and confusing. But I guess my question is, every call has some sort of GPS, right? And they can be tracked, right?
That's not my expertise. I don't know. I know there's ways of blocking it. I have heard, because I kind of asked the same question, how do we not know where these calls are coming from? But with the cellular phone system and the way that the 911 system is set up, I know a lot of times that we get responded to the cell site. They can't pinpoint where the cell phone is.
Hello, Officer Brian White, Senior Lead Officer for the Intimidation District. Real quick to your question, there is that capability. Problem is, that's for the person that wants to be helped and wants to be found. So if you're bouncing or using an app or a computer, in this case, whoever this individual, which clearly is breaking the law, or individuals, whoever they may be, they're hiding their identity. So it still obviously is always best to provide, if you can provide where your location is if you have an emergency, still will always be the best. possible scenario. But if you're unable to or unable to speak, the call does get recorded as far as if it's located in the landline or they do have the GPS.
Okay, that's
So
good.
those aren't just gone, but again, we have some other stuff going on here with individuals that are, they're breaking the law, so they're hiding their ability to be tracked.
I see. Thanks for the clarification.
No problem.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, correct.
Evil and diabolical.
Yeah, not at all.
You guys are up against the evil and diabolical force?
Yes, we are. Amen.
Citizen app is not accurate, guys.
So
Come on.
sometimes citizens
God, I
will,
always say that.
things come up or come through differently. It's still, I mean, you can look at it as a resource, but it is still kind of social media at state. So, and this is the reality for police work too. Calls will come out with saying something X, Y, Z happened. Oftentimes it's very different. So, it's something that was, for anybody to take with a grain of salt until you know what's happened after the fact. And they
So,
feel like
well,
they should
we
be
know
all the
he's,
time, but
we
yes,
got
I still do follow up with that.
pitchforks, right?
They're seeing it. They're seeing how LAPD is.
I've had my nose broken. They know their name. They won't do anything about it. This is just a few weeks ago.
I'll go there.
What are you talking about? His buddies too.
But anyway, so yeah.
His buddies. White's buddies. He
My
knows.
time was stolen too.
Yeah, okay.
You've been assaulted by people who you know exactly where it was. They do
What's
nothing.
being done in all like mail theft?
My God.
And do we see those things?
So, I'm a little bit hung up on this, on Alvina's case, in the sense that, like, in all honesty, if we have the criminals outlined, and this is a crime, defacing public property, it's definitely a crime in 2024 still, right? And we have all this evidence that's just like served up to the LAPD so that the personnel in our department that's protecting us, the citizens, is able to go out and deliver this service for us. How are we supposed to instill confidence in our constituents here? Because we're just here as public service. Like, how do we get this to come through? And I fully understand why some people would be super upset if they were wronged and the LAPD can't protect.
Correct, so what,
So,
and maybe
yeah.
I'm.
Yeah,
what
how
I'm
do we
saying
get
is
to a place
that-
where
that-
we're communicating to the constituents that, hey, we are trustworthy, and hey, we are here to do this job, and hey, we're all in this together, because right now there's like a.
I'm not saying that they're not, I'm not saying this isn't being investigated, they're not being punished, I'm just saying, I don't think, look, they probably don't have the sign, and I have to follow up to see what's been done. on
Even
all
if
this.
they got rid of the sign.
So here's the deal, what I'm saying
They
is,
sold
yes, there's absolutely follow-up to investigate them and punish them, that should be being done. I'm just saying, I wouldn't hold your breath for getting the sign.
Okay, so, well, forget the sign, but still.
No, I don't, this very well can be at the DA's office or the city attorney's office now, waiting for charges to be filed. I just have to follow up to find out where it is in that.
Gotcha.
I just haven't got
That's
that.
because it's just so, I feel like our service here in this civil body is to create that connection.
100%.
Because that's what we're here to do, we're here to create a connection, because it doesn't work when we're separate.
No, and again, you're absolutely right, there's follow-up information, this is not a hard one to work on. That this should have already been done, I just have to follow up.
Yes, hi, Slowweight. We just found out tonight that there is finally a task force by LAPD to look into the exorbitant amount of calls, swatting calls, fake calls, coming in against protesters. And by task force, can you let us know who is involved in the task force? Has it gone to the FBI yet? And if you have not gone to the FBI yet, why not, and will you be? Because this is a serious issue with how much it's costing, but it's also a serious issue that it puts people in lives in jeopardy because the wrong call can come and something can happen, and we really want this resolved.
Correct, and you're right, like, these are drains on all resources and our public safety issues. I don't think anyone here is going to disagree that this is ridiculous. So it is challenging to investigate though, and I don't know how far along. I don't have any better difficulty except to agree that it needs to stop. And someone should be, if possible, prosecuted.
Well, can you put in like a request for the FBI? Oh, okay, I thought you got 2 minutes. Okay.
2 minutes, like, once you stop.
Got it.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm going to expand upon what she said earlier. There was an LA Times article that came out that says the Church of Scientology is harassing the LAPD officers, breaking their windows, things like that, who are investigating Danny Masterson, and going after prosecutors who are investigating Danny Masterson. And we actually been holding protests related to Danny Masterson. Woman, before he took her and he raped her. And the person that owns La Poubelle came to court with him every day, defending him, wrote a character statement, and apparently has sort of mocked the victims. So we've been holding protests there. Officer White right here has personally been up there to offer, they've had 4 or 5 cops up there basically working security for La Poubelle, essentially. And you know, in the city, there's this unhealthy relationship between the Church of Scientology and the LAPD, even though they're harassing LAPD themselves. So it's a real kick in the butt when they're going after harassing LAPD, but then they have this connection, and nobody has a bigger connection with the Church of Scientology in the LAPD. That guy right there, Officer White. Officer White, if there's a Scientology function, he will be there. Doesn't matter if it's in his district or not. He'll be in Northeast Division. And I've watched videos. There are videos of him harassing protesters. He even came up to me and asked me one time, after he harassed a protester, and I have his own video. Is that guy a bad guy? It's on your business, he's a protester. So that's just a comment.
Good. So, thank you for the comment.
Scientology cop White. He's blessed.
I think it's a comment. Is there a question maybe?
No, it's a comment. You can go on.
So
We can go on to the next thing.
I'm not
He's just gonna lie to you.
I'm
He's going to the
not
next
trying
thing.
protect Scientology.
Yes, you
and
are.
I'm not.
Yes, he's a Scientologist.
I didn't even say that on that. I asked him, was
He
it
plays,
friendly? Did we
if
have
there's a
friendly
sign, play your
conversation?
guitar at the function.
Not
Go,
make it
go,
like that.
like, anyway.
Okay, go.
But no, absolutely. If anyone fair game on LAP officers is just as bad as anybody else, it doesn't matter. It's unacceptable. I would agree. Anyone that does that should be punished. I'm not here to protect any of these people, and I'm here to help keep the peace in several situations, and that's about it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, we're going to go to LADOT. Okay, any questions? Yes.
I'm going to give you all.
Can we do 1 minute now? Because-
Sure.
Sorry.
Mine's real quick.
Okay, that's 1 minute.
Mine's real quick, and I'm going to give you a break on Scientology for a brief minute for my other passion, ADA issues. Okay, Hollywood and Highland is the scariest place for someone in a chair to traverse. I know you can't tell, I'm in a chair. I literally, the battery in my chair disconnected trying to cross there. And yes, I was in the lane of traffic, and yes, traffic had to stop. Thank God they stopped for me. Could have been tragic. Thank God I had someone with me to reconnect it. But it is inexcusable how bad these streets are. I mean, it's everywhere in the city. It's not just here, but I want to bring that to you. You're talking about Hollywood and Highland. It is inexcusable how ADA non-compliant and how bumpy and how horrible that corner is. And is there any plan to fix that during all this, whatever it is that you're doing?
Can I jump in and respond?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. ADA concerns are very important. We're not upgrading it at this time, because we're not touching the Hollywood and Highland intersection with this project. But I know that Council District 13 has a plan for Hollywood Boulevard within that area. And so when they get to doing that project, implementing that, they'll have to upgrade the curb ramps as part of that. So it will be coming.
It's the whole street, not just the curb ramps. So, thank you.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah, quick comment about infrastructure. Just want to point out that last month, we paid out $21 million settlement because of a light falling on somebody's head. It's $21 million that could have went towards infrastructure. We need to take care of it now, because in the end, I'm going to tell you right now, if you walk up here on Ivar, just south of Hollywood Boulevard, there's an electrical box that's wide open. It's been that way I've been documenting it for 2 years. Talking about call 311, I've been calling 311 for 2 years. It's right outside of a club and right outside of a parking garage. Somebody drunk's gonna walk over there, step in it and break an ankle. So my thing is, these are quick fixes, things that we can fix. We can dedicate money toward now that will allow us to avoid these lawsuits and, save us in the end. So that's a comment on that.
So starting with the folks in the room, if anyone is here on a public comment that is not agendized, you have up to 1 minute. You have to go first, second, third, yes.
Yes, I want to obviously talk about Scientology, and because you have one right here in your lovely community, and they want to reopen. And I just want to keep reiterating that they have a very cozy relationship with LAPD. They are often on their CPABs. They ingrain themselves within the community. And just on Saturday, another division held an event in the parking lot that's owned by Scientology. And when asked the detective, what's going on, they're like, oh, we have no association with Scientology. We're just using their property. And I'm like, well, how do they know you need it? First of all, because they're on their CPAB. And then but he did say a lot of people are complaining about it. They're not happy that this LAPD event is happening on Scientology soil. And I am sure that's going on in your community as well, because they offer their buildings. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to point out, once again, we have a $300 million deficit in the city right now. $300 million deficit. Last year, these guys over here at the police department, they went $100 million over their budget. It's part of the reason why we have the deficit. Another reason why we have the deficit, $50 million towards LAPD litigation, lawsuits against the LAPD. We have 37 people in the LAC attorney's office that are dedicated to only litigating LAPD lawsuits. All right, it's a ton of money. Now, they're going to get another $150 million in this budget, and we are going to cut homelessness, outreach, and initiatives, and housing by $425 million. Does that make any sense? You guys walk outside, and you see the issues with homelessness right now, and garbage on the ground, and all these other needs. They get half of our discretionary budget, we're giving them more money, and we're defunding the city because we are overfunding the LAPD.
Yes, hi, thank you so much. This is for Officer White. I want to know how I can get in touch with him so he can perform at an event for an adult swingers party in Hollywood. I'd love to connect with him. I don't know if I need to email his LAPD email, but I'd like to get in touch with him.
No response, comments?
Yeah.
Who's gonna buy out, I'll publish that.
Thanks for your comment, Lauren. Next up is college student audits. In 1 minute. Hello? Going once.
They're muted, I think.
College student audit, you're muted. Come on, college student, you can do it.
Hello, I want to make a comment about Scientology and LAPD.
Okay, you have 1 minute, please.
LAPD wastes money for having peace officers sitting around doing nothing, running the unit. And I think LAPD should have the peace officers use money better and stop wasting money and stop defending Scientology.
Good job.
Okay, that concludes public comment. Thank you.
User Serge Delmar, are you able to make a public comment? Oh, they're gone. Okay.
He's a survivor of Scientology, so he may have missed the public comment because he's one of the victims who, yes.
If they come back, they can make a
Thank you.
I think we should just make homelessness illegal and give them all free homes.
It's off topic, so, where's that stuff?
And-
Thank you.
Now, fuck you guys, get that place.
Cut. You know, they say in the movie business, right? Cut, yeah.
I'm Rich Sarin, I'm a board member with the Hollywood Police Activities League. Anyway, speaking to the tutoring that we do for the children in the Police Activities League program, we are asking for support in the amount of $1,000, which will be Zoom link and software licensing to provide additional tools. This tutoring program that we provide serves over 200 local youth of the neighborhood area, of those that attend elementary schools here. It is just an amazing, incredible thing that we started doing during COVID and has actually translated into post-COVID times, and it has been very successful. And those $1,000 would go a very long way.
Can you guys tell Street to watch me? Just like, why? Because he can't, he's streaming.
Great, oh, absolutely, yeah. And we love having
Just watch.
people drop in.
Any questions, please?
Under what authority did you tell a public person of the public that they either need to be quiet or leave I'm just curious what authority you had for that. Second of all, well, it's not. Second of all, I just want to talk about, please, Seth, your activity league. How many Scientologists are on your PAL as opposed to others, but how many specifically on yours? And second of all, I don't support it because you already heard how much how much the budget for LAPD is. And PALS is just, it gives more money to LAPD, but it's through, the 501c3 type route. And it's just a backdoor way of funding LAPD more than what they're already getting. And so I don't support that, but I'll just leave it at that.
I'm sorry, what was it, John? So we have 8 present. We have 8 present. 4 no. Okay, so motion fails.
Thank you, board.
Any other board questions? Yes.
I'm impressed with this board for listening to the people and what they want. And I am saying, since the homeless initiatives they're going to be losing a lot of money due to this massive increase in LAPD budget. I think it's shameful that LAPD is here in the back door trying to get even more money. Please support every and all homeless initiatives. They need it. They're going to be losing a lot of money. And I just thank you. I'm really impressed with this board tonight. Like, really, thank you.